Welcome you to Porch Talk. This is your host, Alan, and man, it's good to be here today. It's a Zoom call, and I'm headed out to the Music City. I have somebody here with me that I have been a fan of since the day that I met James Mullis. It's completely his fault. I have none other than Ryan Sobb. Ryan, how you doing?
Hey, Alan, I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me. At least James did one good thing.
You gonna put that on him?
Yeah, he deserves it. He gets so much love from me and from everybody else. He needs a hard time once in a while.
Yeah, dude. So, when I was going over to Birmingham to have James on the cast for the first time, he shared, he's like, on your way up, listen to this. And it was Ryan Saab and the Dead Mall, Concrete Feelings. And so from Kennedy, Alabama, which is about 45 minutes west of Tuscaloosa, to Birmingham, about a hour and a half, 2 hour drive, dude. I must have listened to that from track one through probably four or five times, dude. Beautiful piece.
Oh, that's awesome, man. James actually is on the bonus track, which we recorded in Birmingham. James plays the riff on the Still Waiting, like the drum machine version. But that's so cool. Um, yeah, I think that that's just rad.
Yeah, man. And I mean, just before we move on, just on concrete feelings, man. Like recently my father passed away. And when I was reflecting through music, man, concrete feelings came up and I gotta tell you, man, like I'm glad that it exists. And Ryan, like I wanted to tell you this face to face as best we can, but it really helped me.
I mean, yeah, I don't really have a lot of words for that. That's amazing to hear. I'm so sorry for you having to go through that, and yeah, it's just that's a pretty rare thing. Yeah, obviously have a day job and been playing in bands for years. The fact that EP connects with you is it's really special to me. It honestly, I was talking to my girlfriend about it when you sent me a message about doing the podcast. That that's just that's I really that means a lot to me. And yeah, just
Yeah, man. It's I think it's rare of man, I host an open mic in Columbus, Mississippi. And for whatever reason, of I had never seen this girl, chick, lady, whatever, uh before in my life. And she was at Munson Brothers that night. And I had already played like the originals that I had laid out. I usually play my originals at the beginning, then like when I get back up on there to close, I'll do covers. And I did Ryan Adams When the Stars Go Blue. And like I could tell that it was emotionally connecting with her. And after we had got done playing it, she was like, "If you don't mind, would you play that again?" And she started sobbing up, and I was like, "Man, it has been so long since like I've been in like an intimate setting such as this, and someone to connect." And the only thing that I was thinking was, I just wish it was my song. So like I couldn't imagine like on the other side of this, like someone going through a hardship and them finding just resolute or whatever that is in your artwork to where job well done, Ryan. Uh, you know, you created a piece of art, you put it out there to the world, and like it helped me through a hard time, you know?
yeah, that's yeah, it really does mean a lot to me, and I think that you hit the nail on the head with it being a piece of art that exists outside of outside of myself, and we made it, and it's definitely not something that that reached a lot of people, and not because I didn't want it to reach a lot of people. It's just it yeah, we've just been playing and kind of hitting the ground with it for years, and it's a rarity. We do have people, I think, that connect with the music, and you and I have similar music taste, but you saying that it almost takes me out of it, because I forget that anybody really listens to that stuff sometimes. So
Yeah,
yeah,
dude.
it really kind of, it's a hard thing to put into words. It's a complicated feeling. It makes me feel yeah, it makes me feel a lot of things. you know.
Well, I mean, it's you doing your job as an artist, and like Ruben, like I listen to him sometimes, and he talks about like the art and what it takes to make it, and like the importance of making art for yourself. And if you go trying to make art for someone else with an audience or a muse in mind, it's commerce. It's not art at that point. Like you do art because of what's going on inside of you, and it's not your job for it to connect with the audience. It'll, I mean, we've all done, well, not all of us listening, but you and I mean, we've probably wrote a song, and the story behind, or whatever that emotion or feeling was behind the song, of someone will approach you about it and be like, man, I had this happen in my life, and this is how I relate to that song. Well, that's left field for me, but good for you. And I'm not going to spoil that for you, you know?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I was hanging out with a friend who was playing a song that she'd written yesterday, and I was thinking of a specific thing, and it being a good friend, I kind of had what I thought was an idea of what the song was about. It was really moving, and it had uh, some great lines in it. But when she finished playing it, she was just like, I was actually thinking about this. It was totally different. And I mean, you know, she was like, but that's why, like why it's cool is, you're getting something totally different out of it. It was kind of the idea of the song is really wonderful. Um, Basically, just that love as it exists is transcendent. That's a pretty. I think a lot of people have tried to write that song, and a lot of successful attempts at that idea. But she was basically saying that like time rules everything in our lives except for love, and that's why a loved one that's gone uh, is still as close to us as anything else, regardless of the time that's passed, or a partner that we have gotten a divorce from. That version of that person that we were close to is it exists in perpetuity because of the connection that we had. Uh, or and that I just thought that idea um, was yeah really incredible, and I connected to it in a totally different way than she had intended, with a different scenario in mind, and yeah, so I agree. Yeah.
Well, cool, man. I wanted to back up and get to know you a little bit. Like I have a lot of Birmingham lore on Ryan Sobb. I think one of my favorites is Katie Mulvihill. Uh, there was a bill made up, and I think you've done this countless times, but there was a bill put up at the Nick, and you went by a pseudonym,
Yeah, I
and
think.
and then you showed up. She's like, "Oh, it's Ryan."
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, I thought. I think we did. I can't remember what we were like, Winchester or something that night. Uh, Lever action. I don't know. It was. Um, that's funny. Yeah, we did that a lot. I was trying to come up with band names, um, and just hoping that one would stick, and then eventually the Dead Mall did. But yeah, we used, especially at the Nick, used to do that a lot. That's funny that Katie remembers that. Katie's amazing. What a fantastic songwriter as well. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I was in Birmingham for 6 years. I went to Birmingham Southern College. I worked at the Oasis as a bar back. Then I worked at the Pita Stop, waiting tables, and then I worked at uh, Avondale Common House, waiting tables and bartending. So I was bouncing around playing music. The first show I played, I think at the Nick, was with a shoegaze band called Dead Sea Flowers in like 2012, 2013 or something.
Right on, dude. Like I think that's where we really connect is like I'm a huge shoegaze fan, you know.
Yeah. What's your go-to shoegaze records?
Well, dude, like I'm gonna go modern with this, but it was produced out of Cornelius Chapel. Was with oh my God, they were out of Hamilton, Alabama. This would have been I can see the record in my mind. Ooh, put on the spot. It was Brian Manasco and Kai Carter.
Do you know if Les did it? If Les Newby recorded?
Les Newby did record it.
Okay, I think I remember. I remember a
Uh,
band where
it just came to me and it left. Dang it. Go ahead.
did the dude have a? I remember Les recording a shoegaze band where the dude had a tattoo of the cross on his face.
No, this is a different guy.
Okay, yeah. He told me
But
that that
there,
dude said, "You
go
go ahead."
ahead.
Oh, he said that this guy tattooed the cross on his face. That way, he would have no other option other than to play music, which I thought was a really funny reason to get that tattooed on your face.
Dirty Clergy.
Oh yeah, those guys are great.
Yeah, and I mean that and like modern and it's Alabama, so I have an affinity for that. I'm an Alabamian, so anything from Alabama I'm just gonna be. But like shoegaze, like I love that sound, and then it goes back to like a Spaceman 3, even with like drone rock, which I am obsessed with.
Yeah,
Even to Frank Zappa's or anything. And I think that was the thing that kind of lured me really into like, man, like where I'm at now. Like I mean you had some kind of drone going in on concrete fillings. It wasn't real heavy, but it was there. But yeah, dude. So like before Birmingham, where are you from, Ryan?
I'm from outside Chicago. I'm from the suburbs there. Um, and on the topic of Spaceman 3, before I talk about the coming from there, I went and saw Spiritualized this year, and that's kind of it's obviously not shoegaze. It's but there is that like drone element to what he's doing in Spiritualized, which stems from his work in Spaceman 3. But that space my favorite Spaceman 3 song is Hey Man, where it's just the two chords over and over, and he's like, "There's a black smoke rising, Lord." It's that shit really
E and
gets
A.
me. Yeah, and
Hmm.
there's something building throughout it without it being like overt. Somebody's like four on the floor, like getting big. It's just kind of yeah that I love that shit. But yeah, I grew up in Chicago. I had a couple bands in high school. One that I thought was really good. I still think it's really good. Is my favorite. I mean, I really love the Dead Mall did an EP called Carnival Shapes. That's probably my favorite uh, like thing that we've put out, just the closest to me. We did it on a 4 track. I felt really seen recording wise in that way. I did it with Preston, longtime collaborator and bass player. But this band I had in high school is called Moonlander. We had like a 6 song EP, and I I think it's some of the best stuff that I've been a part of. I wanted everybody to drop everything and do that. And uh, we like played around Iowa and Illinois and opened for bands. It was cool, but the venue that we played at that kind of was pretty formative. Played there a few times. I had another pseudonym band called Sugar Ray Romano with the drummer from that, Moonlander. It was a venue out in the sticks, like rural Illinois. The back of it was like a mortuary, like embalming and stuff. And the
Hmm.
front of it was a hookah bar and a straight edge venue. And they had like hearses parked in the parking lot. This is like an hour and a half outside of Chicago, like rural Illinois. And your choice, if you played there, was you could either get your set recorded for free. They would pay you $30, or you could get a pizza. And that was the three choices that you had. So we would just record the sets every time. And
Yeah.
they gave you a CD of the set, and it sounded horrible. It was awesome. It was really cool. The place was called Swing State. Was the name of the venue. It was cool.
Yeah, dude. So, just like growing up Illinois outside of Chicago, man, like tell me a little bit about the formative years. Was it always music? I mean, what were you interested in? What were you doing?
Just I grew up next to like a huge wooded area. Um, so I was really into like Tom Sawyer and Huck Finn and stuff like that as a young kid. My grandpa would go out there with me, and we'd mess around, build slingshots. Uh, when I got older, we'd chop down trees and shoot pellet guns and stupid stuff. Um, but then, yeah, I got into music probably when I was like 13, and became pretty obsessed with the guitar. Met a good friend who still one of my best friends, played a Moonlander with me. Um, and yeah, we just I was pretty just obsessed with music. The first my favorite record of all time is Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young's "Deja Vu." That's my favorite record. That was my intro to music. That was the first thing that got me excited about music, and that was when I was 5 or 6. My dad got me onto that, and at the time, my dad was really into like a weird mix of stuff. But he was playing Elton John, Honky Chateau, and that record, CSNY's Deja Vu, and like Barry White's Greatest Hits. It was a weird combo, but I connected to this Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young stuff. Then I got into like kind of goofy, classic rock radio. I loved Guns N' Roses. Was a huge Guns N' Roses fan. And then when I was probably about 15, I got into Jason Molina, Drive By Truckers, and Pavement. And then a little bit past that, 17, 18, got into Replacements, and that was it.
Yeah, I definitely hear those influences coming through, especially when it comes to those latter ones, dude, especially replacements. Man, shout out to it. So, graduate high school, was how would you end up at Birmingham Southern, brother?
I had an uncle in Homewood, Alabama, and um, I studied music at Birmingham Southern. I played lacrosse there. I played a sport for 4 years, which paid for that. It was yeah. I was fortunate to not have to pay for college, not through sports, but well, partially through sports. But um, I had I wasn't a good student in high school, but I had good test scores coming out of high school, and Birmingham Southern paid for just about all of my college. So I really wanted to go to Rhodes College in Memphis,
Hmm.
and that was like what I really wanted to do. And my parents talked to me about it, and I think that they made a really good call. They I think my dad just put it as like the idea of graduating college and then owing somebody a ton of money just to go to this school that you think you really want to go to, you know. So basically, I ended up in Birmingham. I didn't even visit the college beforehand. My parents just dropped me off there, and and then I was, you know, in Birmingham for the first time. I'd never really been to the South before. The the main thing I knew about the South was Drive By Truckers records, 100%.
Wow, dude. Just from hanging out with James, man, I would have just imagined that y'all had grown up together and y'all just decided to be roommates.
Yeah, I mean, me and James, when we met, it was funny that we were so similar and from totally different places. Yeah, and by the time I was out of college, I had dated a girl from Alabama. I had spent all the summers in Alabama. I had worked so many weird, odd jobs throughout, you know, I'd gotten really ingrained into, that area. I remember I had a weird thing where a lot of people thought that I went to a high school in Birmingham. They would have a memory where they'd be like, "Yeah, you remember when we did this?" And I'd be like, "Man, I was not here." And they'd be like, "Yeah, you went to." A lot of people thought I went to this. It was Homewood High School, but I think they had just I had been around for a minute. I had spent the summers there as a teenager, 18, 19, 20. I worked Birmingham Southern would put up a board that would be like jobs for hire. I worked for this lady in Crestwood, just doing gardening and working on a roof and doing stuff like that.
Hmm.
And I just kind of, but basically when I met James, we had such similar interests. James was a really good football player in high school, which I don't think he tells a lot of people,
He
and a really
doesn't.
good golfer. And he was really into Nintendo and guitars and songwriting and video games, computer games, and that was what I was into as well. Les Newby actually told me that we would get along, so then I went and jammed with Adrian Marmolejo and James at like a garage attached to a house that James was renting a room out of, and I think I asked them if they wanted to play with me on a show I was playing with Corey Brandon at Zydeco like 2 weeks later.
Yeah. Dude,
But we,
that
yeah, we
that's
hit it off immediately.
that's so wild. Like you have that kind of same thing, and like I don't know what it is about like the kind of people that just get plugged into people's memories. Like I get that sometimes. Like people will tell me about a party years ago. I had never been to that area. And they was like, "You were there." And I was like, "Dude, you're getting crossed up." I was like, "We have been there, but dude, I wasn't even aware of that then." And they was like, "You were there." And you can't tell them any different. Like I don't know how we wire that in our minds, you know?
Yeah, I think that some people are comfortable talking like to people, and then they associate that comfortability with like maybe they've shared a story with you, so then they feel connected to you in that story. Like if they told me a story about high school, and I was like, "Wow, that's crazy," or they told you a story about somebody that was at that party because they feel comfortable talking to you. But yeah, it's a weird thing. The Birmingham thing is, and it's also just like I haven't done a whole lot of like interviews and stuff, but um, a lot of times when we do shows, especially out of town, and in town here, people from Alabama will introduce me as like a fellow, like Alabamian.
I'm guilty of it.
I, I like it. Yeah, I like Alabama. My girlfriend's from Mobile, which is funny because they don't associate with the state. They're Gulf Coast people, you know.
Hmm.
Um, I remember when I was in college too. I called it South Alabama, and this guy I went to college with was just like, nobody calls it South Alabama, man. It's Lower Alabama, L.A.
LA.
I thought that was sick.
Yeah, dude. And like I mean, it's so funny in the South, and I'm sure it's like this everywhere, state to state, but like when it comes to Mardi Gras in Mobile, they are so obsessed with New Orleans didn't start that. We
Yeah,
did. And I was like, well, it doesn't matter who started it, it's who does it better now, ain't it?
yeah. That's like pizza and Italians, dude. It's like go to Chicago or New York. We're doing pizza better than you guys ever did it.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's funny. I'm doing my first Mardi Gras in Mobile. I've never been to Mardi Gras in New Orleans or otherwise. We're going down in 2 weeks. I think it's different now. Kate has two nieces, and they're going to be down there. And from what I've heard, Mobile is a more family friendly event compared
It
to New
is.
Orleans. So it'll be cool. I just I love I'm obsessed with alligators and pirates and shit like that. So being down in the Gulf Coast to me is still it's like leaving the country. It's like I didn't grow up with that at all. Um, it really feels to me like I'm in another country.
Yeah, dude. Like after I graduated high school, I went to Shelton State in Tuscaloosa for a time, and I got the degree, and I started working in that field, and I things weren't clicking for me, and I'm sure you can relate to this, to where you've been in a city and you feel like you have done everything that you could possibly do, and what you want out of that city is just not happening. So at that time, what other choice do you have than to move? And so I decided I would move down to Mobile. And I'd lived down there for 6 years. And it was that same mentality, brother. It was like, I love pirates. I think I'm a ginger. I don't really like the sun, but I think I like the water. And just a change of pace and like that Gulf Coast life, it it really does kind of inhabit like what I would call like Alabama or maybe even the South as a whole, to where it's a little bit more laid back, but just a little more palm tree and power line.
Yeah. Did you when you were down there? So Kate's folks live right by Callahan's.
Oh my
Uh,
gosh, what a venue.
yeah, that place is awesome. We played there. I've played there a few times now, but I played there. I filled in. Adrian couldn't make an early James tour. Um, I think I think he was traveling with Paige up to New York or something, or maybe he was playing with a band on the longer run. So I filled in, and me, James, and Joey did like a run through Mississippi. We played in Oxford, and then we played in Jackson, and then we played in Mobile. But that place, the burgers are insane. I did play. We went down there with Taylor Honeycutt years before that, and that was the first time I'd ever been down there. And I had a burger. I maybe smoked like a little bit of a joint out in the on the street and had a burger, and I was like, dude, this is maybe the best burger I've ever had.
Of course it was.
And Josh Headley was playing like beautiful, like sad country ballads, and I'm just like sitting there with the burger. It was awesome.
Yeah. It's just crying over the burger. This is so great.
So when you were down there, was I don't know how old Callahan's is. It was it seemed like it was an old venue, but was it there when you were there?
It was, but it wasn't on my radar. And it's so crazy. Like since I left Mobile, like I caught the Red Clay Strays several times before they were anywhere what they are now. Like
Yeah,
those guys were just getting started. And like I connected with a Partridge after I left, and even some of the other music guys in the Mobile scene, Red and the Revelers and all that. But that wasn't the circuit I was running. Like I was playing a lot of gigs out on Dolphin Island. There was this place called the Pelican Reef right before you got to the island, or even like when it came to Mobile itself, it doesn't exist anymore. But it was like this rib shack that was right across the road off of Shell Street from the University of South Alabama. They would do live music, and I'm blanking on the name of that place now, but like, and we would do like coffee shop things, but I never ran into like any of that. When I think caliber, it's like the Blue Canoe and like Tupelo. Like
yeah,
if you want to have a pulse on who's moving and who's shaking some ground, look at Callahan's and Blue Canoe, and just and look at the wall. Look who signed it, and look where they've gone. Like my goodness, you know.
yeah. That's funny. Those venues. There's a handful of venues throughout the South that when I was starting out, that's how I would book. Would be looking at those venues, seeing who was playing there, and then typically Bottle Tree in Birmingham was on that list. The
Shout out.
Bottle Tree in Birmingham Whitewater Tavern in Little Rock, um, Proud Larry's in Oxford, Blue Canoe in Tupelo. The Nick was also there in Birmingham.
The house that Staples built.
Dude, that place has some of my favorite nights of my life, and some of the worst, lowest, and not even like just there's a Birmingham. The duality of Birmingham is this resilient, buoyant attitude that it has. It's like history is like this like the Magic City coming out of no major waterways and stuff, and then also this just like inherent darkness behind it. And the Nick can really play both sides of that coin. It's a weird spot, but also so many good bands come through there. I've been on some bills there and seen some shows there that I don't think could have existed anywhere else. And the first time I saw the Nick, I was in high school. I watched a documentary about the drive-by truckers. It was called I'm gonna slaughter the name, but in the documentary, Mike Cooley is driving past the Nick, and he says something like, "There's the Nick," and it's like shows a picture of the Nick in the rain with the billboards behind it and the projects behind that. And he goes, anybody's played there. And I was like, what is this? And when I got to college, I mean, I pretty immediately went there, just to see what it was. And it was a total letdown the first time. I don't think there's any bands playing when I went in. And then the next time I went in college, I saw a vulture whale at some point there.
Hell yeah.
I saw the Dexatines there. Um, saw some amazing shows where it was like transformative.
Oh, dude, Dexy is so funny. There's a great YouTube video on the Dexy live at the Nick, and they're doing like this short interview right before the show starts. And I don't remember which member of the Dexy it was. I think it was Elliot, the front man. And he had invited his dad out to the Nick that night. And he was like pumping himself up. And you know how it is, like talking to your old man about the band. What's the old saying? If you want to disappoint your parents, go into art.
Yeah,
And he was like, big deal, Dad. We got a big show. It's at the Nick in Birmingham. And his dad comes out, and it's just nobody shows up. And right before the show starts, his dad walks up and he's like, "The big show, huh? Real
oh,
cool." And he was like, "Golly, you didn't have to do that."
that's brutal. Yeah, well, I've seen the Dex teams pack it out. I hope Elliot's old man got to see one of those nights because that
I'm
band
sure he
the
did.
right night on the right night that band is really the best that Alabama has to offer.
Quintessential Alabama AF, dude. Like, I love drive by. I know that's more of an Athens, Georgia, and
But
but
all
I
the
mean
members are from Alabama, so
that's right. And yeah, Dextains is right there by him. And then just like, oh, dude, I couldn't imagine like if I were like prospecting Alabama, Huntsville's booming, but if I were a musician, like Mobile, yeah, but then you're 6 to 8 hours from everywhere. It's Birmingham. You can get anywhere quick. And
yeah,
plus it's like it's a mecca, dude. And like you have all this history, you have all the lore, you have like I mean, just think of all the musicians that are hanging around there right now. I mean, it's ridiculous, It's just
yeah,
it's a beautiful place. And things are booming.
yeah, 100%. That scene is that's awesome. We played there recently with a band called Sick Fucks. They were amazing. Like,
Ham Bagby's bunch.
yeah, dude, they really love Ham. And speaking of Ham, Elliot, the first time I heard a Ham Bagby song was I heard "Shit's Crucial" and was like, oh
Of
man,
course.
yeah, there it goes. And then past that, I obviously spent a lot of time with him at open mics and got to hear, you know, the all of what Ham has to offer. But Shit's Crucial was yeah, incredible. But I think Elliot plays guitar on the Live at the Nick recording of that. And Ham Bagby's favorite band of all time.
Dextons.
Anyone in the tri-state area knows that it's the Dextons.
That's right.
Yeah, dude, Ham's a legend. He's what a cool dude. Great songwriter and just yeah, what an epic guy. Loves the shred. That I think me and him both match up on that. Like I said, I like some weird hair metal. Ham's weird, not weird, but surprising interest in Prince always was striking to me. When Prince died, he just went to this bar in Crestwood Tavern. Ham just showed up and he said, "Hey, Prince died, and I'm gonna play Prince songs on guitar for the next 3 hours. You don't need to pay me." And then just set up on the stage and played. It was awesome. Yeah. So where are you from originally?
Kennedy, Alabama.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and then I've lived all over Alabama, and now I'm working on living all over Mississippi.
Sweet. Mississippi's rad. It's cool.
Yeah. Well, dude, of what would inform you that it was time for you to leave Birmingham on to Nashville?
Um, got the one of the guys that works next door just walked out, but um, I think I liked I mean I love Birmingham. I think as far as a place to live and the way that the city's set up, I like Birmingham probably better than Nashville. Um, I had been in Birmingham for a minute. It's funny because thinking back, I thought that I had 2 years after college. It felt like an eternity in Birmingham, and I was itching to get out, but there wasn't any like particular reason. I was really just I played a show with a guy named Darren Bradbury who lives here. Darren was like, "I have a room open in my house if you want to move up here in Nashville." And it was cheap. I think it was cheaper rent than I was paying in Birmingham at the time. He was like a couple $100 a month to rent a room in his house. And then I was talking about it at a bar, and Zach Austin, dude in Birmingham, Zach. Zach was like, "Oh, I have a friend who's working at a frame shop, a picture frame shop, and I think that they're hiring." So I had a show here on like the 11th of that month. It was like the first week of April. I played the show up here. Then I went over to the frame shop and just to kind of get a feel of it. And then I went back and I quit my job and just moved up here. It was I told everybody and I told myself that I was just going for 3 months.
Temporary.
Yeah, I think everybody does that. I think that there's a weird thing with Nashville too. It's just like a lot of people uh, set an arbitrary date to be like, you know, this is how long I'm going to attempt this. Um, and since then, Nashville has been all of the things I thought it was going to be, and none of the things that I thought it was going to be simultaneously. It's just a place where people live and work like any other place. Even though there is so much music here, uh, it's just a city like any other city. The thing that I didn't expect was not just how many good bands there are, but how many good bands are just doing it and don't care about. Like I feel like I see shows all the time. Like some of my favorite bands here are they're not like trying to. They're just doing it for the sake of art or for the sake of camaraderie or for the fun of it. It's fun to play
Love
a
of the
band.
game.
Yeah, and I think that that's really cool. And And there's other things I like about it, but I've been here for 6 years now. It's kind of flown by. I'm going on 7 this coming year. Um, yeah, I could have ended up. I literally, if somebody in Austin had been like, "Hey, I have a room," that's probably where I would have ended up. It wasn't like a big conscious decision that I made to try Nashville specifically. And since then, I almost moved to Memphis. I almost moved to Chicago at one point, and neither of those things worked out. And then I started doing the frame shop, and this is what I do.
Yeah, I mean, like just latest post that I've seen of yours. I mean, S&S, right?
Yep.
And so, I mean, tell the good people, I mean, plug the shop.
Well, me and Maxwell's a visual artist, and we both had been working in a frame shop during the prior to the pandemic, and then when the pandemic happened, and we got denied for an SBA loan to buy that frame shop, which was a blessing in disguise because instead of going into major debt to the government, we just rented a really small shop in South Nashville and started from the ground up. And we've been doing it for over 2 years now. And the band practices in here. We record in here with like a Boss digital 8 track and a laptop. And
Amen and roll tide to that.
yeah, it rocks. It's
Thank
cool.
God for an 8 track, dog.
Yeah, this one specifically. It's the Boss 864. It's got its own like proprietary Bobo sized like memory card. So we don't save anything on the 8 track. We just save it on the computer. But it has my favorite like I mean, we kind of use it like I kind of use it like a preamp for guitar takes, but um, it's uh it's rad. They're like a weird era where like the Porta Studio stuff and the cassettes were going out of style, and Boss was trying to go digital, but it's like obviously not going to be. Hey, I think my dog is about to need to go to the bathroom. Do you mind if we pause for a second?
Yeah, go
Spencer,
ahead.
not do what you're about to do. Okay, I'm gonna take him out real quick.
Uh,
Okay, yeah. So yeah, I've been really lucky to be able to have the band in here, and all of us live in apartments, so none of us
have the
we have
space.
yeah. So having this has been really cool. I just moved kind of the work tables out of the way. Our drummer brings his drums in and kind of set up all this stuff. But it it's cool because I feel like it's where we practice for shows. So it seems fitting to me that the recording happens in that same space. Whereas I feel like going into studios can be kind of daunting, like you're not playing the same way, or I don't know, it's hard. I struggled for a long time figuring out how to have recordings that I liked.
Same, dude. With the record that I put out and everything that I've been working on since then, whether it's recording myself or someone else, as I'm as lo-fi as possible. And that's just where I'm at. That may change tomorrow, but I am really into the room and what you sound like in the room. And that's all I care about. And when that one shot recording's over, we're not gonna fabricate it. We ain't doing another take. We ain't doing squat. Like if you and I were sitting together right now at S&S and I gave you an acoustic guitar and I was like, Ryan, open and close the show. I give you one run. Open it. Hey, this is Ryan. Welcome to Porch Talk. This is a song called da 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 da. Okay, that's it. I wasn't really happy about that. Well, that's what it was. We'll do one more cut. But after that, dude, we've already done it. That it is what it is.
Yeah.
And that's I don't like that approach a lot of times, but then again, it's like how many times have we sat there with the red light on and just re-recorded until you have frustrated the shit out of yourself? You're not doing any better at that point. You're not doing yourself a service. I think the best thing to do is to walk away and to come back later. But like if you can't do it first shot sitting down, I say walk away.
Yeah. I mean, we definitely, I think most of the first Dead Mall record is mostly first and second takes of songs. And we track live. We don't do a click or anything. Um, and then there'll be overdubs for vocals or second
Oh,
guitar or whatever. But yeah, I mean, we recorded a couple new. We're working on a second record right now, and we recorded a couple of them. And one of them was the first take we recorded last Thursday, and the other one was, I think, the second take. Um, but I'm sure we could have hit it another 6 times and then just hated ourselves and not known which one was the best version, and just instead of
oh.
that, we just pick it and we move on.
In a band, man, like you know as well as I do, like dude, there's an animosity that begins to build up. Like I like a live recording with everyone in the room and you all do it at once. Now, granted, I understand like if you don't have the room to do it or whatever the case, but let's just say it's the same guy 2 times in a row that wasn't hitting. There's gonna be a little animosity there. Be like,
Yeah,
brother, I don't know what's going on, but if I need to record your part later, I will.
yeah. I think I think that pressure is yeah, limited with the dead malt because there's only three of us, which is nice. The three piece makes
Yeah.
that a lot easier. Yeah, I don't know if I would do so well in a really big band. I think the three piece is definitely the best vehicle for at least the stuff that I'm doing right now.
Hey man, where are you at like right now? Like if we were to pull up your however you ingest music, whether it's YouTube or Spotify, who are you listening to today? Who is
Uh,
moving you?
Today I listened to ACDC, John Conley, and Charlie Rich.
Right on, dude.
Kind of a weird mix. Friend sent me some ACDC, and then a friend here had shown me some John Conley stuff that Rose Colored Glasses is the name of the record. It's an 80s John Conley record. And then I started listening to Every Time You Touch Me, I Get High, Charlie Rich, super smooth. We're going to Memphis for a wedding in a couple weeks. And I just was thinking about Memphis and the Delta. So uh,
Hell
yeah,
yeah, dude.
but I would say that's pretty. That my two favorite records of, or yeah, I guess. Well, my favorite record of last year was this Tony Molina and this band, The Lost Days, did a record called In the Store. Um, it's a Bay Area band. Um, just really sort of post punk, sort of power pop. Just it was really cool. I listened to that a lot. Um,
That Bay Area has a particular sound when it comes to the guitar.
yeah,
And
Jangle.
uh and you always know it when you hear it if they're being true to the Bay Area sound.
Yeah, it's
It's
like a jangly sound to me. There's a few bands there that are great. Blues Lawyer, Uni Boys. There's a lot of really cool stuff coming out of there.
yeah, dude. Well, dude, I don't want to miss anything, but I have if I did, you can plug it. But I have three questions and we'll begin walking this puppy out of the door. Ryan,
Okay.
thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Alan, for having me on Porch Talk. It's an honor and just so hope to actually get to have a conversation, man.
Yeah, dude. I mean, this has been
Yeah,
off and on for years now between us.
yeah. I'm. This was really fun. I had a really good time.
Yeah, dude. I'm telling you, like since the day that I was driving to Birmingham to go hang out with James, and he's like, "Oh, by the way, listen to the Dead Mall and Concrete Feelings." I was like, I have got to talk to this guy. But dude, question number one for you is man, like social media, music, how can people support what you're doing?
Yeah, we have a band page. It's just the Dead Mall on Instagram. And then our most recent record came out with Like You Mean It Records in Nashville. They have our music, for purchase on their website and their Bandcamp. And then we're on all those streaming services, and I think, yeah. Well, we don't have the next show we have coming up is February 17th at Punk Walk in Nashville, which is like a sushi restaurant that does punk
Hell
shows
yeah.
after hours. So we're doing that with Palm Ghost on the 17th. And yeah, that's my answer to that one.
All right, question two. I hope it opens up a little bit. In your travels, uh, where has been a favorite place that you have been? And where is somewhere that's on the radar that you would like to go? It could be anywhere in the world.
Okay. So I I think I have to look up the while I'm doing this. I've got to look up the name of this venue. We played in Tallahassee, I think last year,
Hmm.
and the so we played one of my favorite songwriters of all time. Lives here in Nashville. His name's Rayvon Pettis. Incredible. He's an Alabamian. You you would love his stuff. Rayvon is he's incredible. But he was like, we were talking about booking some shows, and basically Rayvon was like, introduced me to his brother. So we played a show in Tallahassee with his brother. His brother happens to be um, one of the he put out a record during the pandemic that just Dog is Goob is the name of the record, but it's the band is called 100 Watt Horse. We played at a vegan restaurant slash punk venue with 100 Watt Horse and a local like trap hip hop indie artist named Jordy Hendricks there in Tallahassee. That was like the most surprising. It was an amazing show. They had like a local radio station come out and run a booth. The college like indie scene was like super strong there. They like came out to see like whatever touring band was coming through. The venue was awesome, super welcoming space, and then the show itself was just like it was perfect. It was exactly like what I wanted, every other show to look like on the road. So that place, Tallahassee, weirdly was the best. And I'm trying to find the post for it. And I'm having trouble doing that, but I wish I could plug that venue because it was awesome. There's a guy from a record store there. He bought a bunch of our cassettes and then sold them out of the record store for a while, which I thought was really rad too. But man, I can't find it. I'm an idiot, but
Oh,
two,
good, dude.
Tallahassee, the next spot I would want to go to. I've never been to New York City in my life. I'd like to go there.
Yeah, dude.
Never
I
been
think
there.
you should go play it.
Yeah, I mean that would be cool. Hopefully, we finish this record. Maybe we could do a run up there, but
Hey,
never been there.
you talking to a guy that could get you up there, dude.
Yeah, if you know people up there, I really don't. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I
if we
don't mind lining you up on that. Uh, yeah, dude, it's like I don't know, like since doing this podcast, like we've been able to do a whole lot, like through Zoom up into New York with a lot of great bands and capturing a lot of sounds that I've never heard and I wasn't even aware of. And just by having those guys on and just being enveloped in that New York City scene, and the beautiful thing about New York City is what? Well, it's the melting pot, it's the Big Apple. I mean, it's got everything that you could possibly want. And it also uh has clientele or an audience, and they're waiting for you. And that was always something that I was real interested in. But I want to go play there one day too. But I really want to have a real well-oiled machine and a full band that I am damn proud of. Because
Yeah.
I like if I was doing singer-songwriter, I was like, I don't think you got a listening room there that would book me. But I don't mind playing a dive bar. I mean, that's my favorite thing.
Yeah.
But but I want my band to bring it, which I don't
Yeah.
have right now. But I could definitely see the Dead Mall up there.
That'd be awesome. Yeah. I've never stepped foot in the city. Um, and as an American, I feel like that's, a bucket list for anybody, just generally speaking, but playing there would be really cool.
You and I should do this great heist. Internet turn off real quick. We're gonna get the Dead Mall to distract everybody. Me and Ryan are gonna go over and get the copper off of the Statue of Liberty's big toe, and we're gonna sell it and make a fortune.
Wait, this seems like a Sopranos, offshoot.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's funny, man. I do want to see the Statue of Liberty. I want to see what that thing looks like. I want to see if it's as big as everybody says it is.
Right. Hell yeah, dude. Oh, last question to walk out of the door. And Ryan, I would love you're welcome anytime you got something to promote, whatever you just tell me, or if you want to hop on here and we can maybe get James on here, we can do a three-way. I think that would be
That'd be
insane.
awesome.
But last question to walk out of the door. What was your favorite part of this conversation?
Yeah, man. I mean, it's an emotional topic, but talking about the way that you connected with Concrete Feelings was that's really special to me, and yeah, that to me is it's really meaningful, and to connect with somebody over the internet and have a now a shared experiences. It's really cool, and the internet fucking sucks for so many reasons. It's horrible, but for this reason, it's cool. It's to be able to
Yeah,
connect to other people, to be able to like yeah. I think that to me is just really meaningful. So
I
I
thought
also
the
love
timing. Hmm.
I also love ham. So talking about ham always
Oh my God, I could do a full podcast about him.
he's
Um,
he is like a mythical character. Um, yeah, and so is James. I mean, James is anybody that's gone through Alabama in the past few years it inevitably goes, early, and I'm like, yeah, he's uh, he's an amazing writer, dear friend, and he's a good dude. Adrian, all those guys in Birmingham, uh, really dear to me as well. But yeah,
well, brother, man, uh, best wishes. I hope you won't be a stranger to the show. I'm glad we got this out of the way. Best of luck to you and the Dead Mall, to S&S with the frame, uh, whatever y'all got going on there. But uh, brother, this will do it for here and now. Ryan, thank you so much.
thank you so much, Alan.